Hare Krishna. So this is where the glories of Satila Ekadasi. And it's explained that Satila Ekadasi means sesame seeds. So it is recommended on this day one takes sesame seeds, donates sesame seeds, offers sesame seeds and oblations, other sesame seeds by Yagya, over sesame seeds, over donated sesame seeds. And that is why it's called Satila. But for devotees, you don't need to follow all these rules and regulations. By observing a strict fast, possibly nirjala, or not abstaining from taking grains, beans, lentils, and all these things. It equates, donating sesame seeds and so on. So, for example, somebody will ask, what if I'm doing nirjala, complete fast? Do I need to chew sesame seeds because it is recommended here? Not necessarily, because there are different kinds of vratas or fasting. There is one that you take water or you take food, maybe fruits. Another is that you take water after sunset. And the next is that you don't even take water. That is nirijal. Nirijal, jal means water. Nir means without even water. And that is the best. So it doesn't necessarily mean that when one is doing, if one wants to do this full fast, he has to chew. It's the same. And it is also recommended that one has to bathe with sesame water. If you do that, that is fine. But if the necessity or the provision is not there, it's still fine. Just take clean baths. So for the devotee, taking bath means he's taking baths to cleanse his body to be useful for the service of the Lord. So there are different types of baths. One is to bath the body, which is gross. Every living entity does that, cleanse the body. And the second, which is bathing our consciousness, that our consciousness should be purified. And the bathing of the consciousness, that does not use water. That is done by mantra. Mantra recitation is what is done to bathe the consciousness. Then the body, the mind becomes in unison. It becomes purified to say a bit may I use it to serve the Lord. So this Ekadasi narrations that we read every day, even just by hearing the narrations, one gets completely purified. A lot of purification is done. Talk less of actually doing the Ekadasi itself. So what happens to one who fasts on the Ekadasi, reads the Ekadasi, hears the Ekadasi glories, give a donation or something? It means that your fortune cannot be. Chitragupta went to me only ink and a paper to me actual of fortune. It becomes immeasurable for even Chitragupta. I say only the fastest typing person with me outright than anybody. He cannot even calculate the fortune of such a personality. So it is recommended that we always try to say Drew currency be idea of the. It doesn't matter however bit me. It doesn't really mean say 2 seconds I do complete fast, like one fasting completely I 1 year. No. Even if you want to take fruits, that is fine. Or even if you want to eat non-grains, that is also fine. But no matter the situation, do not eat grains, beans, or lentils, all this stuff. Because Papa Moksha, Pap means sins. It is said that sin personified resides on the Ekadasi days inside grains. If anybody who eats grains on Ekadasi is verily eating only sin, like Bhagavad Gita said. And for how long are we going to commit sinful activity? Like, when are we going to be tired of sin? And we are not going to be tired because we keep infesting or ingesting these sins within our body. That is why I realized that why I didn't say but why do we still have that urge to still sin? because of these things, eating grains on Ekadasi, it will be very difficult for such a person to become saintly. Because, I mean, a lot of dirty stuff will be living within the consciousness in the body. And it is easy for you to be used by ghostly bodies. If you eat grains on Ekadasi, you become susceptible. Ghosts and other elementals can use your body and dump you somewhere after they have done whatever they want to do with you. So Ekadasi fast on Ekadasi and your punishment. Ekadasi fast is not a punishment. Ekadasi fast is not and your idea say Ekadasi will do in a minute. It is for our own purification. The more we get purified, the more we lose taste for material things. So the purpose of Ekadasi is am I lose taste for material enjoyment? Now am I gaining much taste or interest for spiritual activities? Until you reduce your bodily demands, we try to bring it down. You lower no. I quite to say I'm in DJ and I say Obi also amp. With me low exactly sound engineer. With me low bass no. Now I increase the treble nearly. I don't find a regulation. In the human life is meant for regulation. We have to be able to reduce something, increase something. That should be there. So generally what is meant, I didn't hear so I say so the noise of sense gratification. The more we reduce that, our taste and hankering and interest say by spiritual activities because most of us we don't have interest in chanting, we don't have interest in reading, we don't have interest in preaching Krishna consciousness to others. Why? Because our interest lies the most in sense gratification. The whole thing is like 100%. According to so fast circle, like pie chart, 100%. It is if 70% of circle no, sense gratification, automatically 30% is the spiritual activity. Into the more 70% gap on you close, now spiritual life and so expanding. Into you cannot say internet you cannot say oh soha. It's not like that. The more you take one side, the other also reduces. So Ekadasi, observing Ekadasi Vrat and these things, it's not supposed to be seen with a consciousness, a punishment, and as a idea, baby, and of course the body will react negatively as a commodity. Sometimes I used to ask myself, what is a comedy? And yet that's how do I put it? It's not that like there's no definite meaning. It's subjective. Obiane what he feels is a comedy. It's a comedy. Because a comedy, what do you mean by comedy? How does your body tell you? How do you know say it is food that you need?
I remember I said what I said, it's the mind that creates all these illusions, but it's not real. It's like we the soul now there's nothing like a call to us. But I've been in a dad
but still the body has the body so personally. So what kind of comedy what makes you think or feel say comedy? No, personally.
Okay, personally.
I mean, a thought-provoking question.
Yes, it's relative. Just like you said, it's relative.
Okay, good now. A commodore, what makes you think it's a commodore? Like sensation,
Okay, well, if I am to go with a scientific way.
No, we don't need scientists. We are talking about a normal accommodation, deep accommodation, a deaccommodation. Into every living entity undergoes hunger. Into for you personally as a human being, what makes you think or makes you feel say accommodate into here? No, I need the more. No.
So what the first time, like, body will feel weak. So that body will feel like putting something to energize the body.
Okay.
I say, down, being okay, something. But we don't say energy about that thing.
And see, could I also say it will be on Nante bros where the body feels weak. But I know do you feel say what dia ubenya hoade anante more. And now feels also tenase. And say when you hoade.
The tenase say a form of gaining energy because we relax the body now. A form of body in that time may put certain things in place.
Thank you. So what I want us to understand is that when we are hungry, it is not lack of food. It is lack of energy. It is lack of energy which makes us feel hungry. But for us, we condition souls as we are now. We interpret that hunger to mean that we need food to gain energy. And of course, we have by our own practice, we have got to realize from infancy, so when we have that sensation, say we are lacking energy. What do they tell us? Say, yeah, they know for sure. She will know. Say, it's because of say we don't have food, we don't have vitamins. No. That is why you are crying. Until we have been psychologically put in that framework, and they say lack of energy means that we need food. But that is not entirely the case, because lack of energy comes from different. There's different ways you can substitute that energy in a free mono without even taking gross food. Because what happens, they say, so all the adriania, paw, mango, could be whatever, and adriani be a fufu ni benkonia. So fufu ne that bones to for near ringina. Energy via benye free energy no, I bet the body no by extraction is very few, like extremely small. So what if there is a science? You can gain the energy directly without digestion has to take place. You understand the question? What I'm trying to get to is that hungry feeling now, it is giving us a sense receptors in our mind. Say there is something missing within our body. And when we have this sensation, and I might feel it, that awkward feeling, and say we are empty actually. Condition source as we are empty. So we need some substitutes, we need some extra energy and empowerment to be able to function properly. But because we don't know how to get that extra energy, we translate that to mean only gross foods. And suddenly we tap into energy. Even by stepping on the ground, we can gain vibration from that walking to substitute that lost energy. Even by stepping into the sun, the radiance of the sun has that power. I mean, this is not Bhakti Yoga. But we get where the Bhakti Yoga comes in. But then when you step into the sunlight, the sun, if every sun gazing, the sun energy has the power to give you, substitute that energy. Even as sometimes when you are weak, just sleeping, having bare contact with the ground, like I said, stepping on the ground or even lying flat on the ground, the earth has the power to re-energize you. And you don't necessarily have to take food only to be able to gain energy. So what you say? So what actually happens? They're making standing in the sun, sleeping on the floor, and you're all what these things does, they say, it substitutes and it supplements a filling in that vacuum of lost energy. But that normally translate those energy. For example, if you do sun gazing or whatever and you feel that re-energized, still the energy will be drained somewhere. Into the whole idea, and say all those sources of energy, it is not absolute. And it's not even science yet to say if you want energy can be tapped from the solar, from the sun, from the air. Don't we hear all these things? From water. And it's true, by drinking water, jala, that is why in here I can use jala. If we don't take water alone, we feel that we need energy. So by taking water, that energy from the water gives us that a substitute that lost energy. By stepping into the sun, like I said, solar energy can also, it can charge the neutrons. The body is full of electrons, and so it can charge us, and we get we get re-energized. By air, even by breathing, the yogis knows the power of tapping into the energy of the air to revitalize themselves, and they don't feel that hunger. They don't feel that they've lost any energy. Into the element ether, by space, these yogis, spiritual scientists, can travel into space and all that, and that is true energy. Earth, like I said, by having direct contact, the body having direct contact with the earth, we can still re-energize. Fire also, like I said, with the sun. But all these substitutes or a form is a renewable energy. No, it's renewable. It renews the lost energy. But then once it renews, there is always a chance of drainage. And that renewal and drainage means sukaduka. It means we're in the material world. But it's the whole thing that I catch and say we have to look for spiritual energy. And when the soul is energized with spiritual energy, all these other renewable material energies, it doesn't have any stay. It doesn't have any meaning. And then they kind of say you are fully spiritually empowered. And to the purpose of doing Ekadasi, they say we don't do the Ekadasi just to fill the belly with all these stuff. Or we don't just do the Ekadasi because we want to fast. We don't want to take water. We don't want to take fruit or whatever. But then we want to substitute this material energy with spiritual, refined energy. That is what the soul needs to exist in its spiritual practice. So that is the purpose of observing the Ekadasi, reading all these glories near the glories comes with material aspirations, spiritual aspirations, and physical growth, like maintenance, how the body will be doing all those stuff, and even mentally also. But what, as devotees, we are looking for is not the spiritual, nor is it it's not the metaphysical, nor is it the material or the gross or whatever. But then we are looking for the spiritual energy, which is meant to reawaken the soul. So nada, I is a battery. There's still power. So this Ekadasi is a bekiki battery, and then we come back to life, so we don't lose. And by practicing spiritual activity, blockade all the drainage, all the points, all the loopholes now, and make draining. Until once we do this and we are practicing spiritual life nicely, then we feel empowered. So we get empowered to the point where we become charged with practice. Wherever we meet, they feel Krishna. Whatever we say, people get connected to Krishna. Wherever we stop, we step, that place also become Krishnaized. And then because we're a pure devotee, because the whole body is charged with the pure, refined energy. In science, Omeka said they have a name, they call it something energy. I've forgotten the name. There's a technical word for it. Is it pure energy? Yes, pure energy or something like that. And this is the same thing that spiritual science is talking about. And to anybody who eats all these normal grains, you are increasing the loopholes, and you become susceptible to these ghostly elementals. And when they come, they don't come to empower. They come to drain. And you become weaker and weaker. Now they be also now who soon po. So now I am rather than a mantra soon pe. Now ebaya was sad to say about 55,000 lifetimes. Not as so come. So until we gain that intelligence to realize that these Ekadasi and all those things, it's meant for our own good. And it's not a thing. The mind is giving us you say, the who feeling the patch yourself for the new tomb, but we still insisted, no, we are going to look for something higher. And that is what we should go in for. Hare Krishna. We were talking about Ekadasi glories, about attending into a science class. Okay. So if there are any questions or comments. Okay. Yogananda. Hare Krishna. Mm. 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 Yes, I was even thinking of doing a video on that. The taste of God is water. Sometimes these atheists, they believe that God does not exist. But I just tell them, say, if you think you don't know God, taste water. Because that taste is God. And if they doubt, tell them, explain, like, Chairman, give me, science means that you can go to methodology, and you claim that water, two hydrogen molecules, and H2O, and one oxygen. Yes, two hydrogen molecules and atoms. Molecules, right? Atoms. Is it atoms? Two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen. And then almost a chemical compound that form water. But then nobody tastes water like where they add a cocktail of a hydrogen and oxygen. No. We say this is pure, like this is a refreshing. But we don't know, we can't understand what that refreshing taste is. That is why we say Jala. Jala is Krishna or Nara. That water, that taste of water, which nobody can explain, no, is Krishna. And see, that feeling is na and I'll be take a drink beer whatever. But then that pure, that spiritual taste of water, no. I don't know, it's me quenching the taste, no. That is what we are talking about here. It's all no mango juice near mango need a flavor. A manner pecan, mama thickness be, so you feel like you are taking something. But what actually nourishes, what actually vitalizes the soul, that taste, no, that's ruchi, that taste of water, which is Krishna. And a Prabhupada explains that the devotee is called Mahatma. And Bhagavatam Krishna says, some Mahatma Dulabha. The great souls are very rare. But Mahatma actually means swan-like. I have to say, I'll be a friend of swan. Swan, no. So, all the ensure nectar go and poison fra. Swan needs to separate poison no, from the nectar. No, I'm taking nectar, no, just poison. No. What that makes sense, basically, ISR is separation. And pure devotees are like that. One who is a pure devotee, whenever he takes water or whatever, he can be able to go to the depth and who said, this taste that I'm tasting is Krishna. Or this feeling that I'm getting can only be Krishna. This thing I'm seeing, this beauty, this ugliness is Krishna. Because there's nothing as creative than this, which is Krishna. These things, colors now, kind of the optic nerves, no, show a colors where you say it is all Krishna. Into you see even pattern, the color pattern, the equity, all those normal equity, the color pattern, forming color, it is also Krishna. And I read somewhere it said even the word Yahweh, Christians say it's God, YHWH. There is no vowel, is it consonant vowel? Vowel, I or ho. There's no E there, front and back. So it is What there's no kind a breathing, a inhalation and exhalation. And that inhalation and exhalation is what? Is God. He internet can say he is the breath of life. No massacre said Sunday school. He's the breath of life. The breath of life and the living waters. He's the one who makes water alive. That taste, that ruchi, that sensation in water. No? It is Krishna. Of course, I'm so is the bread of life. That is why we are more confused. But my interpretation is the breath of life. Because in the Bible, so then man became life. So that life of breath, can say oxygen and whatever. No. You see, there are about 24 planets or something, like different types of airs circulating within our body. And one of them is a life air. It is a due time that the soul is about to die. All the other planets thing now, be through the heart. I find heart chakra. Then the life air is pulled out of the body. Into that life air, no, it is Krishna. So point short, that taste of water now, we are looking for the taste of whatever the radiance of the sun. We feel that effulgence. All of these things, no, is nothing but Krishna. And to say, yeah, into na Arjuna Krishna Kachani say, for one, when one becomes a true yogi, one sees me within the heart of every living entity. No, for such a person, no, I am never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. Why? Because we will be every partner is Krishna. Krishna. Because I have to say every artist beyond all your art, masterpiece or sign, he has a signature in his masterpiece. Similarly, our DNA, everything, the signature of Krishna is there. And on our aka friend Om, that's vibration. That is the signature of Krishna. And he said, if one becomes purified, we begin to understand, say, Krishna. Every sound is Krishna. Every sight is Krishna. Every step is Krishna. Every feeling is Krishna. And to know about bottom, no, and your friend ecstasy, because everything you are feeling, like every vibration, every touch, it's Krishna. That is the echo. So that is what Caitanya Bhagavat was telling us, that once we get to that level, that when we chant, the voice will choke up because we are feeling Krishna. When we chant, the hairs on our body will stand on end at the recitation of that holy name. And the tears will flow constantly. It will be like rivers and oceans of tears will flow constantly from the eyes. When we get to that level, that is when we say one has reached the highest level of bhakti, pure love of God, refined, unadulterated love. Pope Abeka said unalloyed. Alloyed metal, if I just say mixed metal. But unalloyed, if I just say pure, project, like there's nothing. The similar thing I can say pure water is one quality of water. Pure water is tasteless. Pure water is colorless. So no man can you to no money is pure water is same. Similarly, pure love of Godhead is tasteless. Why? Because you cannot describe that taste. It doesn't mean it doesn't have taste. So similarly, that taste of water, that taste now, it is Krishna. So that's what I can say. So that alone, we can speak more on that. It is very nice. I was contemplating, say I'll do something about that. Maybe I'll try and see. Okay. So any other question or comments? And in the absence of any question or comments, we will end the class here. Granted, no, we didn't read back button. Just like Ekadasi key, Srila Prabhupada key. Entire go permanent day.